It is now on the headlines that the Philippine Airlines flight attendant and a former beauty queen was found lifeless in an empty bathtub of a hotel in Makati after celebrating New Year's Eve with 11 of her gay friends. According to the initial police investigations, Christine Desir's death may have been due to natural from an aneurysm, but there were apparently factors that contributed to it. Later, it was found that the victim had lacerations and sperm in her genitalia. There were also bruises on her arms and legs, evidences that she was raped. The term rape originates from the Latin spine stem raptum or rapere, meaning to snatch or to grab or to carry off. It is an unlawful sexual activity, most often involving sexual intercourse against the will of the victim through force or the threat of force, or with an individual who is incapable of giving legal consent because of minor status, mental illness, mental deficiency, intoxication, unconsciousness, or deception, among others. Rape is sometimes used interchangeably with the term sexual assault. So, to differentiate the two, rape is any form of unwanted penetration, including anal, vaginal, or oral. Meanwhile, sexual assault is any form of unwanted sexual contact. This can refer to molestation and fondling, but also includes rape. Other words intertwined with rape include acts of lasciviousness, which is a sexual behavior or conduct that is considered crude and offensive, or contrary to local moral or other standards of appropriate behavior. Also, attempted rape, which pertains to an endeavored rape without any form of penetration. Rape is categorized by the situation in which it occurs, or by the characteristics or relationships of the victim to the perpetrator. Foremost, corrective rape. This is a type of hate crime targeting non-heterosexual individuals as a punishment for defying traditional gender roles. Date rape is also known as acquaintance rape. It occurs during a pre-arranged social engagement, and notably as a result of deliberately ensuring that a partner becomes intoxicated. We also have gang rape. This takes place when two or more perpetrators rape one victim. Marital rape, referred to as spousal rape or partner rape, is a forced sexual relation between spouses. Rape by deception occurs when a rapist gains consent from the victim through fraud or false pretenses. Statutory rape is a non-forcible sexual activity in which one of the individuals is below the age of consent. The Philippine laws provide that sexual intercourse with children below 12 years old is illegal and tantamount to rape. Prison rape. It is most commonly a same-sex crime because prison populations are segregated. A rape perpetrated on an inmate by a custodial individual, such as a prison staff or a police officer, is referred to as a custodial rape. Ultimately, war rape. War rape occurs when soldiers or civilians rape other individuals during armed conflict or war. This is also often used in reference to girls or women being forced into prostitution or sexual slavery by the powers occupying a country. The World Health Organization presented different results of sexual abuse. This would include gynecological, reproductive, and sexual disorders. Also included on the list are infertility, pelvic inflammatory disease, pregnancy complications, and miscarriage. Some other consequences would include sexual dysfunction, acquiring sexually transmitted infections like HIV or AIDS, mortality from injuries, increased risk of suicide, depression, chronic pain, psychosomatic disorders, unsafe abortion, and unwanted pregnancy, to name a few. The World Health Organization states that the principal factors that lead to the perpetration of rape and sexual violence against women are beliefs in family honor and sexual purity, attitudes of male sexual entitlement, and weak legal sanctions for sexual abuse or violence. There are two types of perpetrators. The first one, whose goal is to humiliate, thus no physical harm, and is satisfied by doing the act to get self-confidence, as well as to show quote-unquote manliness, is the power rapist. The anger type, on the other hand, is aimed at torturing the victim. expressing rage and hatred towards women or men alongside hurt the person that does him or her bad. There are 6 ethical issues identified in regard to rape. Foremost, victim blaming. This happens when individuals are judged and perceived as being responsible for what has happened to them. Specific statements such as, "They asked for it," "It was really rape," "They didn't mean to," or "They liked it," are common beliefs that are propagated within our society to reinforce blame toward the victim. Rapists are known to use victim blaming as their primary psychological disconnect from the crime or crimes that they committed, and in some cases, it has led to their conviction. Female rape victims receive more blame when they exhibit behavior which breaks the gender roles of the society. Similarly, blame placed on female rape victims often depends on the victim's attractiveness and respectability. Related to victim blaming is victim shaming. It has been a common narrative that someone who was raped is a slut. She or he deserves it, and that person has actually a big role. That is why everything that happened to him or her is just okay. Hence, the mindset of many is just to put prejudice on the victims and even suggesting ridiculous remarks easily. Rape victims are usually equated as disgrace to the family, society, and the whole community, that they are stereotyped with misdemeaning remarks like "he or she is easy," "I can pay him or her to have sex with me." Third is online trolling. For the fact that everyone has the capacity to virtually and effortlessly comment on various issues like rape, people never think at times of what they are posting. The social stigma that we are all entitled to have our opinions and having the liberty to do so readily on the web also paved way for everyone to easily disgust, judge, and criticize. People manipulate their online accounts to put some personas down and to bash without knowing the real and complete story. Stigmatization is another important ethical issue with regard to rape. The social stigma associated with rape across the globe forces female victims to conceal rape assault in order to save themselves from shame and public embarrassment. Even the parents of the raped victim often find it difficult to come out publicly to report such cases. Taking bold steps in reporting such case could be for the victim's family to maintain even existing cardinal relationship with parents of the perpetrator of the heinous crime. This situation will encourage other intenders to go into raping, since people who indulge in it do so and scot-free. Penultimately, secondary victimization. Secondary victimization is the re-traumatization of the sexual assault, abuse, or rape victim through the responses of individuals and institutions. This includes inappropriate post-assault behavior or language by medical personnel or other organizations with which the victim has contact. For example, a rape victim, especially one who was previously a virgin, may be viewed by society as being damaged. Lastly, lack of support for male rape victims. Although the long-term effects of sexual abuse of women by men have been studied extensively, there has been minimal research exploring the effects of sexual assault by men on other men. Male victims are more often blamed by society for their rape due to weakness or emasculation. This lack of support for male rape victims is furthered by causing them to rarely turn to legal, medical, or mental health systems for assistance. Top 10 countries with the highest rate rapes are listed, with South Africa having the highest rate in the world of 132.4 incidents per 100,000 people. Although the Parliament of South Africa attempted to amend and strengthen all sexual violence laws with a criminal law, the rates of reported rape, sexual abuse of children, and domestic violence have continued to rise. At the national level, the number of police recorded offenses from 2003 up to present are between 2,600 to almost 6,000 cases every year, or that means 2.6 to almost 7 in 100,000 population in the Philippines. It is so unfortunate that there is this so-called rape culture that is becoming socially accepted in the community. Among those are, rape cases are being reported. If a rape case does go to trial, survivors are often re-traumatized by the process. If a survivor does report, police might not investigate. People think rape survivors are making it all up. Prosecutors often refuse to take up cases that the police do recommend. And even if a rapist is convicted, he can receive an extraordinary light sentence. Good thing that there is a law in the Philippines that help the victims of rape. Rape in the Philippines is considered a criminal offense. In the country's jurisprudence, it is a heinous crime punishable by life imprisonment when committed against women. Rape of males is also legally recognized as rape by sexual assault, which is penalized by imprisonment of 6 to 12 years. According to the Republic Act 8353, or the Anti-Rape Law of 1997, reclusión perpetua, reclusión temporal, or prisión mayor, depending on the gravity of the act and the severity of effects to the victim after conviction, is initiated as punishment for the accused. At this juncture, we encourage everyone to watch this film to dig deep more on the daily struggles of rape victims and to understand them even deeper. Now, for our individual opinions about the topic, we'll start with:
globally, rape is a crime. No culture or society in the world makes rape legal. Rape is most prevalent on countries that treat women as lower class in the society. It is also non-common in poverty-stricken societies. The most common victims are children who are 14 years old and below. Most children who are sexually exploited are victims of prostitution, pornography, and child trafficking.
Online trolling, victim shaming, and victim blaming are apparently the most common results of, and the ultimate reasons that this said issue is far from talked about and becoming sealed of the cases filed. Many are afraid of the said arguments that seldom the victims open up or even wanting to talk about their experiences to resolve the issue. If we only could open our eyes and minds for the victims, then there will be chance that open communication will bring about strategies that will serve as open ground to come up with the resolution of eradicating, if not at least just mitigating the alarming number of cases.
Most men believe women are more likely to be sexually assaulted if wearing revealing clothes, but in my opinion, it's not. The offender is likely under the influence of drug or having psychological factors that lead the offender to have coercive sexual fantasies. Other than women being raped, there are also cases for men being raped where it is thought to be that rape is only a crime solely against women. Rape and sexual assault are among the most traumatic crimes a person can inflict on another, and I just hope that the victims affected seek medical care and someone to help them with the right emotional attention, care, and support to help them begin the healing process and prevent lingering problems later on.
Rape may happen regardless of what people wear, at any place, age, and status. It is caused by an individual who decided to perpetrate a sexual crime. However, in some cases, people tend to blame the victim rather than the rapist. Victims were judged on how they dress, act, and how they engage to other persons. I believe that no matter what the case is, the rapist is always the one who is wrong. Being under the influence of alcohol, drugs, peer pressure, or whatever may the reason be, rape is never right. People should know their boundaries and respect others.
Victim blaming, trivializing sexual assault, sexually explicit jokes, and catcallings are some of the many examples of rape culture. It is a reality which we all participate in, whether we believe in it or not as members of the society. We live in a culture wherein rape is seen as an unavoidable, destructive, yet typical fact of life. If we are to end rape culture, we must approach it both personally and politically. We must discourage and not vindicate any abusers within our communities in our society.
Rape and sexual assault cases are increasing during this difficult time of pandemic. Most of the cases are unreported due to many factors such as death threats, shame, uneducated individuals who are preventing them to tell it to others. The culture of rape is difficult to erase if all of us cannot learn to value and respect own free will and holiness of one's body. It is a question of a human to have a free will or an animal who has an instinct to do things on their own. We have the laws and regulations, but the problem lies in the obedience and respect.
To recapitulate, I would like everyone to ponder on these as our parting words for this discussion. Why should a victim live in fear of shame, judgment, harassment, violence, and discrimination when basic human decency calls for respect, tolerance, and compassion? It is now time to be the voice of the voiceless and empower them by being a resonance of their truth, as well as proving them that they are not alone and are never left behind. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have learned and could extract something out of our presentation. This is Section D, Group 5. Have a glorious day. Thank you.